articles about their situation, that they are facing a really hard situation right now. So if you could tell a little bit more about their situation.
Yes, so when we're talking about the LGBTIQ, the queer community, they are
Mm-hmm.
already very marginalized in the context of Nepal because they do not have a recognized status, and even if they do, they're misgendered, or the kinds of work that they do are what is not considered as a dignified labor. So they are stuck at doing they're stuck with doing odd jobs, which often includes being part of sex work, or
Mm-hmm.
where they work in restaurants or bars as dancers, and things like that. So the what the community goes through is, because they're ostracized in their native places, they come to the capital where all of them live in a very closed community. They live together to increase
Mm-hmm.
solidarity. But the repercussion of this is, because they're already so vulnerable to different kinds of discriminations and mistreatment and homophobia, or this phobia that surrounds the queer community, and they do not receive good work, like I said earlier. And apart from that, they do not have citizenship cards, because if they are transgenders, then their birth identity is very different from their later identity, and it is a very difficult procedure for them to change their identity later. So because of that, they do not have citizenship, so that leads to different problems. Apart from
Mm-hmm.
that, because they live in a very closed community, and like we can see in cases of HIV, where it is prevalent in the queer community, because they
Mm-hmm.
live very closely together. So that's their fear with coronavirus, that if one of them gets infected, then the chances of spreading it towards to the entire community is very high. And apart from that, the quarantine facilities by the government does not include a separate quarantine facility for people belonging to the queer community. So the state is in a way discriminating against them.
Yes. We were right now with the day centers and schools closed. Women that have to work from home, they have double work no at the moment, because they have to be taking care of the people of their family in the house, and also
Mhm.
be working online. So they have to spend, like, they see their double work in their life right now. So how are they facing it? How is there affecting them psychologically?
Yes, so a lot of women that I've spoken to, and a lot of counselors have been telling me that women are suffering from the burnout syndrome, where they're managing, they're juggling housework, and they're taking care of kids, and they're also finishing their work, which is a lot. So, because this comes from how gender roles are divided in our families, where women take care of the domestic periphery normally, traditionally, and the males go out to earn, so they do not come back, and they do not have an equal participation in the household chores. Is a normally observed across the country. So because of that, a lot of women are having a very, very difficult time. Some of them have considered quitting their jobs, and they're really scared they're not gonna meet their deadlines. And yeah, there's a lot of anxiety that we can see.
And double stress also for them.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Well, we're gonna ask just a few more questions, and we can finish.
Before, you were talking a
Uh,
little bit about the
well,
situation of Nepali people in the
India.
border.
Mm-hmm.
So that they want to come back, but right now the borders are closed, so they are stuck in the middle between India and Nepal, and they cannot get inside the country. So which is their situation right now? Because I imagine the situation, and it should be really hard not to be able to get into your country and be in the border with.
Also, we can know that some of them try to pass these borders through the river, that in illegal ways. and some of them have a lot of troubles because it's a dangerous way to access.
Yes, the plight of migrant workers has been really observed in this present scenario, because they're not migrant workers that are only stranded in the border, but they're also stranded in different countries where they went to work, but now because they're out of work, for example, in Qatar and Malaysia or Saudi Arabia, where they went to work, but their employees have shut down. The employers have shut down, so now they're out of work, but they cannot come back home because the government isn't bringing them home. In case of India, because we're geographically very close, so the migrant workers that are stranded right now in the border, and like you said, they cannot enter because there's no facility to quarantine them, and there are many of them in numbers. So the government is taking drastic steps. They have been preparing schools and restaurants and hotels where they can prepare makeshift isolation wards or quarantine camps where they can place them. But right now, if they enter, then the government is scared that the it's going to spread all over the country, because they do not belong to one particular area. They belong to, they're going to move all over the country. So yeah, but yeah, they're stuck without food and water for many days. I heard from somebody who wasn't they hadn't eaten in 5 days, and they were jam packed inside a bus where there are 50 people in one bus, and
Yes.
they cannot get out. And it's a very difficult situation. They're sleeping in river beds, and yeah, they do not have a roof over their heads, and they're dying to come back home. But let's hope the government arranges for that very soon.
Yeah. Also, if this is a really like difficult and stressful situation, dealing it with the fact of getting contagious with the coronavirus, it should be even more stressful and more difficult to get through it.
Hmm.
So I think that also maybe for the government it would be nice to provide some psychological assistance to the people that is stuck there and they have to deal with this situation right now. But yeah.
Well,
Also, do you know if Nepal is waiting for some international aid or has requested for some international aid at the moment?
There haven't. I am not aware if there are any formal announcements regarding the same, but I do think that there have been some requests for PPEs, the personal protective equipment, to be given to the health workers, and for testing kits. Yes.
okay, so just for end it, for finish this amazing interview with all
It would
the
be nice to. We
problems.
have so many questions to ask you, but due to the situation and the phone is not
Yeah,
working, I think that
it's
we
Mhm.
will.
better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how do you think the end of the lockdown it will be?
We don't know. So the government in this period of lockdown was supposed to come up with a strategy that ensures that all of us are safe, and even in the prevalence of the coronavirus, where we can adopt safety measures and resume our daily work. But I do not believe the government has come up with any solution to this, and we're still in a dilemma of how long is the lockdown going to last, or how are we going to come out of it. So I do not think there is a clear picture right now.
Yeah.
Okay, and last question that it's really actual due to the situation of with India right now. There has been some political diplomatic problems, no, because India is starting to construct like a new highway in Nepali territory. So how is the
Mhm.
situation? Why do you think that it happened right now with the pandemic? Do you think it's casual? Do you think that it's on purpose?
That is a very heavy
I know
question.
it's a little bit too personal question, but if not, if you could explain a little bit the situation.
No, so the construction of the road has already taken place, and the completion was announced some days ago. And after that, the territory is a disputed territory. India believes it belongs to India, Nepal believes it belongs to Nepal. So this chaos that ensued around this. But yeah, right now, but like, if we don't tackle this right now, then it'll be too late. But if we do tackle it, then are we ignoring the main issue, that is the global pandemic, that has affected everybody? So the government is in a huge pressure regarding this. So yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Aditi. So I think we will end here.
If you would like to add something else,
if you have any other comment to say.
No, I'm very thankful for being here. Thank you very much for inviting me. I had a lot of fun, and it was really nice.
We are really thankful for your participation. I think that your information was really, really, really important right now, because there's a lot of information, but sometimes there's so much information that you can get confused. So thank you very much for being here with us today, and we hope to see you again.
Better than a virtual, and we can meet.
Yeah.
So take care, stay safe, and
yeah, you too.
And
bye bye.
Else. Bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Y nada, a vosotros muchísimas gracias por seguirnos hoy. Esperamos que os haya gustado un poco lo que hemos estado comentando. Debido a la situación no hemos podido alargarlo mucho más. Como habéis visto, Aditi tiene muchísima información, sabe mucho y bueno, nos hubiera gustado hacer más preguntas, pero hemos encontrado más pertinente quizás pararlo ahora, porque si no vamos a estar todo el rato con los cortes.
Sí, de hecho, eso, las preguntas que teníamos para ella eran tropecientas más y, como dice Andrea, no hemos podido. Vamos a intentar, de todas maneras, guardar estos directos que hemos hecho y después intentar traducirlos al castellano para gente que no lo ha podido escuchar. Y nada más. Muchas gracias.
Pues muchas gracias. Cuidaros mucho.
Besos
y que la desescalada sea leve. Besos desde los Himalayas.
Chao, chao.
Adiós.